from don't make it out. I know that I'm blessed. It's a few L's and millions, so turn that loss to a check.
Will Grimes, bro, welcome to the show, dude.
How are you, buddy?
Seriously, thank you for coming on. And
It's hard to shake your hand. I'm like trying to sit in the right spot over here.
You're good. But seriously, dude, it's an honor to have you on here. I remember when I first saw you speak, and I just remember thinking, wow, dude, this guy's really blown up within a very short period of time. And I remember running into you multiple times at the Tech Center office down south, and just kind of, I guess, have watched you and stayed in touch, here and there. But for
You're
those
like,
of
what the fuck's with, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Because you've been around longer than me, right? You've been in lending for a while.
Yeah, I've been in lending for about 20 years now.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like really about 10 because I got out of the business for a few years when the market crashed in 2008. But anyway, for those of you that don't know Will Grimes, you should know him. You're going to hear about him. Will has a huge, super impressive resume, and I just want to cover some of the things. So 10-year, just under a decade as a Marine. He was in the United States Special
I was in the Marine Corps Infantry. Yep, but I was with a unit that got attached to
Special Forces
Operations
Command,
for a bit.
Special Operations Command.
Marine Corps has MARSOC now. Marine Corps Special Operations.
Okay.
That was just prior to my time. I was actually an instructor for division schools when they were creating MARSOC. So I was an infantry unit, and I got attached to a Special Operations unit for a bit. I was a fast Marine.
Okay.
And we were attached to Special Operations Command, different than what they have now, which is MARSOC. So not a MARSOC.
Awarded with the Guardian Angel Award.
That was the Medal of Honor award as a cop.
Right.
Yeah. So that's when I was a police officer. Our fire department awarded me with their highest honor. Correct.
Which is awesome, dude. But I would say what's really cool, and we're going to get into some of this today, but the fact that you've been able to scale multiple 7-figure businesses as an entrepreneur, and I think the dichotomy of that is super interesting to me. And so we'll get into mindset, but what else? You've got one thing I saw on your website that I thought was really interesting was improvise, adapt, overcome. But you're a coach, you're in real estate, you're a YouTuber.
Yeah.
You've got a podcast, Day One $0. So dude, you're doing it. And I really want to talk about personal brand today because I feel like when I think of where the business is going, not even real estate, but when I think of where business is going, I think it is everything's moving towards personal brand. I think that's ultimately where people will get their news. It'll be YouTube or some similar platform, not the actual news. But there aren't, I couldn't really tell you, other than maybe on one hand, the individuals in our space, in the real estate space, that are building or have built a successful, legitimate personal brand, and you've done it, man. So
appreciate that.
I'm excited to talk to you today. Thank you so much for being
fun.
here.
Yeah, man, a lot of agents, a lot of lenders, they've built something. I call it more self-employed than business, right? Like you've created a job for yourself, and your transaction to transaction, and it's not to be disrespectful to that. That's where I started. I'm still a realtor today as well, right? We have a team, we do production, but in the past year and a half, I've scaled past just production. I'm actually doing very little of it, if not any, just more so advice to negotiations and different pivots along the way of contracts. But we've got a team that handles that, and I love when my team gets credit on the contracts. I'm not the team lead or the guy that has to put my name on everything, so I can show everybody on HomeSnap what I'm doing. Like my HomeSnap, for all those of you that look over, it's gonna say 0 in about a year because I will be almost completely out of the transactional side, minus obviously getting paid on commissions.
Yeah.
But that's where I started, and it's. I think you have to start there. I think you have to be a professional, whatever it is, whether it's real estate or not, you have to be a professional, and you have to understand the job as a practitioner. But something that's I don't see a lot of in lending and in real estate. In the military, in the police world, there's awards. You've got awards in real estate. You've got a lot of cliche ones that people can pay for and whatever. But you've got some that are respectable. But one thing that we had in the military and the police world was promotion. And and not only promotion, but the culture of you're supposed to promote. Like when you're in the Marine Corps, it's cool. You come in as a private or a private first class, you're supposed to get fucking sergeant at some point. And if you're not, they kick you out. If you don't hit a certain rank by a certain amount of time in service or time in rank, They just say, hey, man, we appreciate your time and we appreciate your service, but we're no longer going to continue our contract with you. You're honorably discharged from the Marine Corps. So there's this culture of you're
I
supposed
didn't know that.
Yeah, man. If you don't hit staff sergeant in a certain amount of years, you're out. Or if it's, hey, it's not so much how long you've been in, but it's how long you've been in a certain rank.
So they're
and you're not
really
promoted.
watching for improvement. They
And
want to
it's
see
It's
production.
not that they're just watching; it's expected. And when you go to the military, when you go to the Marine Corps, you want to promote, man. Like I want to aspire
sure.
to be greater, to be better. Here's what's hard with entrepreneurship: there's no promotion. You're either handing yourself CEO on your fucking Instagram. You're the CEO. You're either handing yourself a title that you have no idea what even feels like, or you get in the game as a lender, or you get in the game as a realtor, and you leave the game 30 years later as a realtor. And there's no disrespect to that, minus the fact of like, how are you setting up your family? How are you setting up yourself for your future? And if you're 70 years old still pushing houses, man, like you just haven't created something that's sustainable, for your life, for your family, and it's self-employment. And for me personally, I love transactions. We do a couple hundred a year. I'm in it more for the development and growth of realtors, team leaders, brokers, vice presidents. We just brought the number one team in the world from a Big Five brokerage. They're literally
Congratulations.
onboarded this coming Tuesday, right? So
that's
we
awesome.
brought a couple of VPs over. It's like once we mastered transactions, just very similar to like my Marine Corps career, it was, hey man, what's next? What's the next level of contribution? What's the next level of of influence? And I love it, man. Not only is it more lucrative, and you can build something a lot bigger and a lot more sustainable, but I think my brain just works like that. Because in the Marine Corps, it was like, learn, do, teach. Learn, do, teach. Learn, do, teach. It was like, and then you were new. Like when I picked up sergeant, right? You're new. You're not new to the Marine Corps, but you're the new sergeant. You fucking boot, right? And all the other sergeants, they respect you as a sergeant, but you're not necessarily one of them yet. You got to earn that. And I loved how every time you picked up a rank, no matter how proficient you were, there was this element of you're the new guy at that rank. And no matter how much you think you know or how well you think you perform, there's this layer of expectation, but there's this new layer of growth. So now that I'm an entrepreneur, I think I find ways to self-promote through different lanes of focus, through different lanes of revenue. Because once I've mastered something, it's like, great, how do we maintain that? But then what's the next thing to grow? What's the next thing to build? And that's been the biggest thing that has shocked me in real estate, lending side, real estate side, and in just entrepreneurship of ascension. And I think because of just how I grew up through the military, through the police world, it's like I think my brain is just stamped a certain way. So now I'm taking the initiative to try to find that within entrepreneurship.
So I'm curious. Did you have a vision? Like, so there's so much to unpack with what you've already said, but let's go back a little bit. Like, had you envisioned building a business, or were you always entrepreneurial prior to getting into the Marine Corps?
I think so. Like I grew up mowing lawns. I grew up doing that bullshit.
Okay.
We grew up poor, man. I had a great family, a loving family, educated family. My dad got laid off in the 80s when the space shuttle blew up on live television. So electronic jobs
What did
kind of
he
went
do?
out the window. He did electrical technology, smart guy shit for, you know. And when the space shuttle blew, it wasn't the same anymore. So he got laid off and he had to create his own business. And so my parents were loving. We just didn't have much, right? So I'm 12, 13 years old mowing lawns because I want Nikes. Or I want to, my mom was able to buy me 2 pairs of pants and 2 shirts for the beginning of the year, school year. And she'd buy me 2 pairs of shorts and 2 shirts for, spring and summertime. And she's like, hey, if you want more, you just got to figure out how to pay for it because we can't pay for it.
Do you think that, like, growing up, kids have an advantage when they're in a family that doesn't have much? Like, I think about myself growing up. Sounds very similar. Like, my dad worked for UPS. I mean, he made enough money to pay the bills, right? Yeah. It's not like we were broke, but at the same time, I mean, he was wearing shoes that were 2 years old because he would put, shoes on my feet before his. And, but something in that caused me to want nice shit and like to never have money be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's advantages if you grow up rich, but there's also disadvantages. There's advantages if you grow up broke, but there's disadvantages.
Yeah.
I think, like a lot of times when I don't know. I think it's just more so your past and how you grow up. Look, it is what it is, right? And there's no changing that. So it's more so what you do with it and just the takeaways that you have from it. I think people are a lot more status quo now because of the internet, and you can see Flash versus. I remember growing up in the '80s. There's no fucking internet, man. Like,
Yeah.
like when you're in the neighborhood you live in, there's no keeping up with the Joneses, man. Everyone was all kind of like, we didn't even know we were broke. Kids probably know they're broke now because they have the internet, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
And they're looking at Lamborghinis and all this stuff. Like when we grew up broke with no internet, like your neighbor is in the same class you are with roughly the same amount of stuff you got. Like you don't even really know.
Yeah.
What you don't have.
Well, a lot more outdoor activity. Like you're hanging out with the kids from the neighborhood.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, exactly. But to answer your question, I didn't really hone in on entrepreneurship. Like I was doing that because I wanted Nikes and I wanted some cool pants. Cool. And then I had an opportunity and played a little bit of pro baseball. Didn't last long. And I had a buddy pass away in Iraq, so I left baseball.
What position?
I was a pitcher and an outfielder.
Okay.
I'm lefty, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, threw hard.
Lefty? Do you just lefty for everything?
No, I shoot right, and I write
weird,
on
man.
whiteboards.
So I
right-handed.
write left-handed. Everything else is right-handed.
So I throw
Okay.
left-handed. I write on a board. I write on like a desk left-handed, but I write on a chalkboard right-handed.
Weird, man.
I'm all fucked up, dude. But I did, man. So I went to the Marine Corps, and I didn't know how to swim. I'd never shot a rifle until boot camp. My mom was a hippie growing up, so like no guns in the house and all that stuff. And just, through learning how to swim in the Marine Corps, through understanding, like the biggest lesson I got in the Marine Corps was when we were getting ready for the range. We had, what we call snap in for a week. You're not shooting any live fire, just practicing positions. You're aiming your rifle at a oil barrel with a little target on it, and you're just practicing, and you're pulling your trigger, dry fire, no bullets, right? The following week, we go to the range, and it's now live fire. We're going to start shooting, and that's also the week you have to qualify.
Okay.
Right? And I just remember being super nervous, and one of my drill instructors came up to me, and he's like, Grimes, per quote, what the fuck's wrong with you? And you have to speak in third person in boot camp. So I'm like, this recruit, he kneels down. He's like, shut the fuck up. I was like, sir, I've never shot before. And he's like, what's the problem? I go, well, some of these guys grew up hunting with their dads and stuff. They're all talking about it. I've never even held a rifle until I got here. And he's like, awesome. You have no bad habits. Do what I say, when I say, how I say, to the best of your ability, you're going to crush. I fucking love guys like you. And dude, in a moment, it was this paradigm shift of, oh, these guys that grew up hunting with their dad, they might have created these habits that are not good, and they got to undo a ton just to try to relearn how to do it. Well, I'm here with the best dudes on the planet on how to shoot a rifle. Marine Corps instructors. Right? Like, say what you want. Like, these guys, like Marine Corps infantrymen, which were some of my drill instructors, and they had just gone off of, OIF 1, Operation Iraqi Freedom 1. Like, dude, gunfighters, they're more than proficient with good habits and skill sets and learning how to, and I was like, man, I just never thought to like, oh, I don't even know how to do this. I've never done it, which means I don't have a bad habit.
Yeah.
Only habits I'm going to have are the ones that they give me, right? Paradigm shift. I end up being the high shooter, not only out of our platoon, but out of the entire battalion. And then come to find out, man, some of our famous scout snipers through the scout sniper community in the Marine Corps, they were very similar. And you're just like, wow, man, but what a paradigm shift. Because so many people think that you got to have this raw talent for something. It's not that I don't have a talent for shooting. It's that if I was too afraid to start, I never would have even found out the talent I fucking had in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%.
So many people are afraid of that with video in real estate. So many people are afraid to, get out of transactions and do some investment properties or do some certain things because it's like they're just good enough and they make just enough and they don't want to rock the boat. And just from an early phase on, I learned that, right? And as I ventured through different careers, I was never great at like when we're talking about entrepreneurship to answer your question, right? It's like I never saw the entrepreneur side. I was always great within a framework. Whatever I'm at, I'm going to own my lane and crush it. So whether it's military, whether it was, being an instructor in the military, whatever it was, like I could take my lane and own it. And when I was doing police work, I helped my buddy build a brick and mortar fitness company. He had just got it in franchise. We built 14 stores in 2 years. I'm number 2 in this startup, and we're crushing, dude. And I'm working my fucking balls off. And my lady was like, I don't think I complained one day, but I think I was like, hey, I'm just busy. Just give me a minute. And she's like, hey, you ever wonder that if you work 16 hours for yourself, like what that would look like? And I was like, no, between baseball, between the Marine Corps, between police work, like I had a lot of skill sets.
Well, you were so buried too that you didn't.
But not like they give you like in the Marine Corps, man. Like everyone has to be like, dude. I had 8, 9 fucking jobs in the military. Like you have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And there's a long leash on creativity and expectation where you kind of felt like this is my squad and this is my business and we're going to train and be prepared to kill bad guys. And hey, as long as you're not breaking Geneva Convention or being unsafe, like however it has to get done. And, you know, like you do have a lot of creativity and a lot of freedom, you know, but I just never applied it that way. And when she said it, I said no. And, you know, my lady, she, her dad sold his company to Hewlett Packard, like real 7-story building in Denver Tech Center, like, you know, sleeping at the office, like real entrepreneur, came from the Philippines to the Middle East. And he went from the Middle East to America and he built this thing. Real entrepreneur. So she grew up around that. So she kind of had that perspective. I just said, like, nah, man, I never have. But that's where the idea started to flourish within real estate. And once I did just start to develop my own framework, it was like, oh, I can do this. Like, oh, I got it. And then the rest kind of kicked in. Domino effect of ascension of how am I going to promote myself? How am I going to master something and build it, but then continue to build the next thing while maintaining what we've already built? Those things, man, they clicked right away. But the vision of entrepreneurship and always having a plan for a business, no.
Do you think that hustle, that drive, that's something that people are born with, or do you think that that's something like I feel like you must have had something within you early on that gave you that drive in the first place, or that gave you that chip on the shoulder, and then you got better at it, maybe from mentors. But
yeah, and it's such a good question because it's
yeah, like where did that come from?
It's so romantic to say, right? And a lot of guys are like, yeah, it's just in you, and if you're a killer, you're a killer. If you're an alpha, you're an alpha. You're like, fuck, man. Like, I don't think so. You know, I think growing up, I was great at baseball. I threw the ball 91, 92 miles an hour to high school. And I'm left-handed. Go figure. Like, you're going to go a long way whether – and that was a lot of talent. I remember starting baseball at 8 years old. I threw the ball hard. I don't know what to tell you, you know, but and I had a lot of fire in my belly as a youngster and going through high school, and you dream about being a big leaguer. But no, man, I wasn't. I would go to practice. When I'm at practice, I would practice hard. But I wasn't hitting the weight room a ton after practice. I had a weightlifting class my senior year of high school. I did that because I didn't want to do another math class. So I'm working out a little bit in a weightlifting class in high school, and good kid. And I practiced hard when I was at practice, but I wasn't like going above and beyond. So I do think it's introduced, right? And like where I really learned it was the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was where I learned my work ethic, and here's why. I think as an individual, you can only take yourself to whatever threshold you can within yourself. You go do things like the Marine Corps, and I'm telling you, man, drill instructors, end of 04, 05, just post OIF1, like, it's a different world, dude. It's like, hey, it's only a matter of time before you guys deploy. The war's already heating up. It's already a problem. It's big. So the way that they were training you was intense. School of Infantry, intense. And the Marine Corps was the first time I had gotten broke, as in pushed past my own threshold of what I thought was capable, and yet they fucking break you. But then they pick you up, and you're doing more, and all of a sudden you go, oh, I do have more in me.
Right. I was going to say,
I do have more. But you can't get to that extra gear without somebody breaking your shit. You know, and then once you do, man, it kind of gets addictive, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it. There's so much more in me. And so, yes, so when I'm coming into real estate, I'm new to real estate, but I'm not new to hard work. I'm not new to pivots. I'm not new to understanding, you know, managing client emotions and legal contracts, being within law enforcement and studying some law in school. Like, I had some good pieces, and I knew how to work.
It's almost like you're breaking down to break through, but how much more do you feel is there once somebody gets to the point of absolute exhaustion or they're defeated? Endless.
I think it's endless, but to answer the question a little bit more practically, starting is not the hardest part, right? Like, I think when you first get past your own threshold of what you think you're capable of, somebody, a coach, the military, sports, whatever it is, pushes you past that. You're now capable of more than you thought. Got it. And being capable of more than you thought is going to get you past your pain, right? So like when you're a new realtor, getting your first couple deals, or you're a lender, getting your first couple deals, it's gonna give you the fire to get past your pain of being broke, your pain of fear of starting, your pain of not knowing where money's coming. It'll get you. And then the next, where it gets you is to that next step. And that next step is good enough. Right? And this is where people stop, dude. I used to think the start was the most hard piece to it, or the most dangerous. Nope. People don't change until it's too painful not to, correct? My opinion.
Yep.
So when they're in that pain of stardom or transition, or what is it, like, they'll fucking do anything to win. It's once they start winning and they start making a buck, they're cozy now. They're comfortable. Complacency comes in, and it's how they respond after a win that really says what you're capable of. Because it's no longer about, and here's the thing, it's no longer about needing to be broke to see a new threshold. That's happened to you. Okay. It's now about you breaking past your own complacency and your own comforts, not your own hardship. Make sense? Now, I remember they did this study. I can't remember who did this study, some Ivy League school. They put a mouse in like this container, and they had it like strapped to these weights, and they would have it pull the weight. They measured it. Then they put a piece of cheese just in front of the mouse. Okay, pull the weight again. He pulled even harder. Then they took the cheese away and put a cat behind him, and he pulled the hardest by far. So it was a study on people relate and respond to their fear more so than their hunger. Okay? So when you're starting, whether it's military, whether it's sports, whether it's I'm going back into lending, what the fuck do I do? Or hey, I've been in for a while, but the pandemic hit or high interest rates hit. So like, what do I do? When you're reintroduced to that cat behind you, right? And we're introduced or reintroduced to our pain. We'll do whatever it takes, correct?
Yeah.
And we get just far enough away from that cat to make a couple deals, to do a couple loans, and we get back into our comfort. And right here is where we rest, because our hunger for our dream, our big house, our future for our family, whatever we see, like we don't respond to imaginary compared to the reality of the fear that was behind you. So people start making a buck, and they're complacent. And it's how you respond right here after this win that will dictate how big your future gets in business. And right here, when you get there, it's no longer the capacity of what you're capable of. It's the capacity of your self-awareness there and your fucking discipline of, I know I don't need a buck. I know I don't need $1. Dude, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need $1. I can say no to way more things than I say yes to nowadays. Okay, so like when your question is like, hey, what is it like once you break through? What are you capable of? It's like, it's not that simple, because breaking through that threshold and realizing what you're capable of endless. You're capable of infinity, but it's not breaking through that threshold that gets you there. That breaking that threshold of pain only gets you to the next step. Like a false fucking summit, dude. But once you get here, it's like, it's self-awareness, it's discipline, and what you're trying to create for your business or whatever it may be, like, you've got to have more relationship there, or you're going to stay right in that comfort, complacent side. And dude, you and I see it. Dude, there's so many people I see making 6 figures that have a lot of ambition, and I talk to them, but they live in quiet despair. Right? They're sitting because it's like, I make enough, I'm good enough, and they almost don't want to rock that boat, or they're just completely complacent to, oh shit, man, you're actually slowly bleeding out. You just don't know it because you're bleeding out so slow you can't tell.
So what are some things that you've done to recognize that? Like, have you created triggers, or, now, especially now that you're coaching, what are some things you're helping your people do where you can almost set an awareness around that happening, and then like it's almost like you're forcing yourself back into some discomfort so that you never get to that point of complacency?
I've just never been comfortable anyway. Like I didn't even hit this level of like comfort here, like, because I'm very task oriented, right? Like, get emotional about your goal. You want a big house, you want to pay for your kids' college, you want to have 10 million in the bank by the time you retire and be good. Like, whatever your goals are, awesome. And get emotional about those. Get excited and get emotional about them. Just don't get emotional about the process it takes to get there, right? Things that it takes to get there, hey, we're mission critical, and we're either hitting it or we're not. And if we're not hitting it, how do we improvise, adapt, and overcome to hit it? Or if we're hitting it, how do we triple down and do more of said thing that we're good at, right? So diving into that, it's when I'm coaching, first and foremost, when you're prepared and you're ready to coach, you will feel like you are the sharpest you have ever been. I remember when I was the lead counter sniper instructor for division schools as an infantryman going through urban assault. Our school was called Urban Assault Leaders Course. Really cool infantry squad leader course for urban operations, right? Fighting, building the building inside of cities, and it was great. And you're constantly reminding people of how to be brilliant at the basics. And if you can be brilliant at the basics, beyond rapport, regardless of circumstance, do your fucking high speed. And you're going to be a great communicator, a great operator, a great gunfighter, and you're going to do a lot of great things. But it's all rooted in just certain levels of basics and how well we can do them. But as an instructor, when there's a standard of what it means to be an instructor in the Marine Corps, and you're hitting that standard, you're constantly refining basics. You're telling the same thing 10 different ways to 10 different Marines because people learn in different ways. So imagine like knowing things so well that you can shoot, move, and communicate to any Marine under any circumstance, regardless of their learning ability, to communicate efficiently to them. You'll never feel like a better gunfighter ever, and you're an instructor. Same thing when you're instructing, when you're teaching or coaching real estate. When you're going over brand and just different lanes of focus, man, like you feel sharp. So one, I do get something from that because it keeps me extremely sharp. I'm still heavily involved in our agents that do deals. It's just me that, hey, I get paid at commission tables. I'm not putting my name on a contract. I want my agents to have ownership and identity with what they're doing, right? That's a whole nother podcast on leadership. We could just talk for a day on leadership and why it's important to empower agents along with the credit given, not just with a commission check, because not everybody's just about money. There's certain things that they want to have ownership and credit of, and I'm not new to that.
Because a lot of guys, right, they want to have their name on everything, and then they just funnel everybody else's production.
And everyone knows, man,
them.
if you're like, hey, look at me, I do 200 deals a year. No,
Yeah,
you don't.
yeah.
It's you and your team,
you do.
and you're not crediting your team. I don't even take the credit. I let the agents have the credit, right? So, but it's also because I'm not trying to be known for transactions anymore, right? It's like, hey, dude, my second year in, we did 140 million with 10 people. Right, then we hit 180 million with 9. Like, cool, man. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Am I supposed to wear my fucking high school Letterman jacket around forever? I'm gonna be in real estate for 30 years, still talking about my production. No, man. It's like, what are you doing with that to help others create levels of success in their business? So when I'm coaching, it comes down to what I call lanes of focus. Right? What are our lanes of focus? Like for you, your lanes of focus might be: I've got personal production. I've got a team in an office that I'm running. I've got a podcast that I'm running, and I've got events that I'm running. Cool. How do all of these coincide together? And what tasks do we have in each lane of focus that you have? And we're going to sit down, and I'm going to grade your lanes of focus with you. Which lane is most important, 1 through 4? Grade them. And then you're going to grade the tasks inside of each lane, how they're important. And when you're going into your calendar to build it, we're going to start with the most important lane and the most important tasks. And we're going to work there. Right? And we're going to go and so on and so forth as you build your calendar, et cetera, cliff notes, right? But the point is, it becomes very task oriented with your lanes of focus and then these tasks that we have to get done. And the reward, the gratitude is accomplishing missions, not, I got some money in the bank. Yeah, we don't have to fucking work next week. Because it's like, no, man, it's like, it's very task oriented and you've got to retrain your brain on how to receive gratitude, give gratitude to yourself, and appreciate things for the accomplishment. No different than, when somebody's trying to kill a bad habit. Let's say it's alcohol. I want to stop drinking. Cool. Or I want to stop smoking, whatever it is. It's like, cool. Part of the success of that is, what can I replace? Like, what do I get from smoking? Okay, let's say I'm a recreational drinker, because I don't want to get into real alcoholism. It's not my lane of focus, right? But let's say I'm a recreational drinker and I just want to stop. It's too much calories. Like I'm not the nicest person when I drink, hypothetically, right? Well, it's fun because I only drink when I'm out with my friends and this and that. It's like, okay, cool. I got to find something to replace that. Hey, what can I give myself that will give me the same level of like good feeling, but it's a positive addiction almost, right? Like working out, going for a run. You do that enough, there's good endorphins there. You see what I'm saying? So you have to replace it. So when you're coaching, you got to literally reteach people how they reward themselves. And a lot of times people reward themselves with, oh, dude, I worked out all week and I ate well. Man, I crushed this week. I'm going to have that large pizza and that piece of cake. And you're like, fuck, dude. Like, you worked so hard and like your reward is what you shouldn't be giving yourself. No different like as people get complacent, right? Like, hey, I worked so hard and I did these things. I'm going to go fuck off for a week on vacation. And it's like, hey, it's not to say don't take a vacation. It's your reward system that's just broken, and there's just different ways that you do, and we've got to remap that, and we've just got to be a lot more mission critical and task oriented, and find the rewards within that. And there's plenty. It's just getting folks to identify with those that keeps them on track.
Dude, I love the mission critical and task oriented.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's easier to coach and hold people accountable to a result, or you having them focus on like the daily habits, really the lead measures, right? Like the stuff they can control.
Yeah, it's got to be habits. It's got to be, like I measure progress. I'm okay wherever you start. We just have to have a certain level of progress. And results are hard, man, because results what if you were grading me in baseball? Look at the military.
Sure.
You're going to grade a guy. You're going to grade a guy and give him a high score because he can hit a 3-mile run in 18 minutes. Man, that guy's awesome. Okay, but did we measure his effort? Because he's this tall, skinny guy that he ran cross country in high school. He was actually fucking cruising and hit 18 miles in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like he hit 3 miles in 18 minutes, eating a fucking sandwich, taking a nap. He was actually cruising. He was actually running a 6 out of 10 effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. So is there a dog in that guy? I don't know. Like what we have to do is get people to strive out of their own comfort zone to reach what's ambitious for them. So goals in themselves take a while to identify because some are just easier to obtain. And then are we just gaming the game? Are we just setting certain goals that get obtained because it feels good to go, hey, I hit it? And it's like, all right, that's that fucking toxic positivity I hate. Right? Because it's like, okay, but were we going to hit it regardless? There's certain things in baseball. I was going to hit a goal regardless of how hard I worked because I was gifted at throwing a ball. So in business, there's going to be things you're gifted at. There's going to be things that regardless, you're just going to do well. Our goals wrapped around that, and then we're like, hey, pat on the back. And it's like, no, man, we really have to get outside of our comfort zone and, create some things that are within reach, but they're stretched. But it's not even about whether we're hitting or not. Because sometimes, man, you have people progressing and working hard. They're just not hitting a goal, and we've got to make some pivots on how we're approaching that goal in order to hit it. Or, dude, sometimes as people grow, the goal changes.
Yeah.
And why the fuck isn't that okay? Of course it's okay as long as we're not changing the goalpost on a goal because of an emotional response. Tired, fatigue, disbelief, whatever it is. But there's just so much dynamic pieces to a goal or how to hit it. It's more so if you can develop someone who just takes quitting off the table and understands how to improvise, adapt, and overcome or make certain pivots and believe in themselves and believe in habits and believe in consistency, you'll accomplish anything. But man, the goals are almost arbitrary anyway, right? Like, new realtors. Hey, what are your goals? Well, I want to do 50 deals this year. Okay. Where the fuck did that number come from? Why? Like, you thought of it, you pulled out. It's arbitrary, man. It's like half the shit people set goals on are fake.
How do you how do you coach somebody that comes to you, they're talking to you about their goals and you ask them that question, they give you a number that you have a hard time not judging just based on your experience?
We never have a number talk.
So
I'm your coach.
Never number.
They don't control the conversation.
Just activity.
I do. They're soliciting me to help them. Our goals and our progress is based off of behaviors, habits and behaviors. If I have a number, like I've got some folks I've been coaching for going on 2 years now, right? And we have some numbers and we have some certain things that we want to achieve. Those numbers didn't even come around until I coached them for a year. If you were going to be my fitness coach and I had a goal of benching 225, is that okay with you? The answer is, I don't know, because you might be able to walk in day one and hit 225. Some kids could, dude. Some kids were just fucking strong. And maybe the way my scapula's made, how God made me, I just can't flat bench for shit, and I'll never hit 225 without blowing my shoulder out. There's guys like that, right? So what you should say is, hey, Will, we're going to start learning how to have a consistent behavior in the gym. We're going to learn how to work out properly. We're going to learn how to work out consistent, and we're going to learn how to recover properly and recover consistent. We're going to work on those. And through that, we'll end up adding weight to certain workouts, correct? And after you see where I'm at for 6 months or a year, now we can start setting a goal because you can see what I'm capable of. But until you see what I'm capable of, like, hey, new realtor, how about we just coach to what behaviors make a great realtor? What are great realtors doing? And what behaviors are attached to those tasks that they're doing? Let's start there. And then let's just see where the cards fall. Like, I did not have a goal my first year. I did 34 deals my first year in real estate. No leads, no Zillow, no Realtor.com, my Facebook and my Sphere, 34 deals. But what if somebody would have gave me a goal of 15? Would I have stopped?
Sure.
Would I have let off? I don't know. Here's what I did. I was developing what I thought was a great realtor through study and practitionership, through specific tasks that I felt were productive to do, and then proper behaviors and consistencies with those tasks. And I just let the cards fall where they may.
So were you just doing personal production at first, or were you focused on personal production, recruiting, personal brand?
Dude, I didn't open my fucking mouth until I hit top 1% in the world for Berkshire.
Okay.
And a lot of people maybe don't know that. Maybe they hear me now and they're seeing me on. We've been on the Drew Barrymore show. We've been on some cool podcasts. Annie Frisella's podcast.
Yep.
So maybe they only remember me for running my fucking stupid mouth, right? Cool. Mazel tov. I didn't open this fucking mouth until we were top 1% in the world for Berkshire, man. Like, and we did that within 14 months.
When did you start paying attention to personal brand? When did that come about for you? And because I know you partnered with Eli, right, to kind of help you with that. When did that come about? Was that after you had hit top 1% for Berkshire as well? Or did you start filming and hire the videographer prior to that?
We do all of our own filming.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a videographer.
Okay.
We'll hire videographers for events.
Okay.
You know, but like with our YouTube channel and things like that, right? Like we did 140 deals last year just from our fucking YouTube channel. We film all that. It's not hard to learn how to film. It's hard to edit. So we have edits in-house.
Okay.
We've hired our own editor in-house, and she works with us. She's a part of staff, and she edits our stuff. But as far as like learning skill sets on how to film, especially for what we do, it's not hard.
But I feel
Vlog style, it's not hard.
you were ahead of the curve. I mean, from my perspective, you started growing your personal brand before it became popular to grow your personal brand.
Yeah,
So-
because and be specific. Before it was popular to grow a personal brand in real estate. But dude, when I was with Fit Republic, right, that fitness company, when we went from 2 to 14 stores in 2 years, and we learned a lot. And my cousin Reese used to be a videographer for Red Bull, and he helped us out a lot with videography. And he taught us a lot about just different events. And we started building culture and events within fitness. And we saw how well that worked. So when I come to real estate, I'm new to real estate. I'm not new to culture. I'm not new to influence. I'm not new to standards. I'm not new to any of that stuff. And when people didn't necessarily jive, because, dude, when I first started real estate, man, like people were disagreeing with video. When I was kind of speaking some of my ideas, they're like, man, I don't know. Like, and then the people that were doing video was like fucking green screen, news analyst style. And I'm like, God, shoot me. You know, and like, you know, and Eli and I ventured out, and Eli was doing some videos, and he was super open to what we built through Fit Republic. And Eli comes from the fitness world, so he remembers Fit Republic and how fast we grew. So he was jiving with it, dude, and he kind of just let me take the lead on it. But brand is just awareness, man. Brand is going to follow you regardless, right? Like even like I know now it's popular to build a brand. I think it's always been the thing. Even when people were doing real estate in the 70s, you still had a personal brand.
Sure.
Even though they say before the internet, the brokerage was the main, you know, attraction. Oh, you're a realtor at Sotheby's, or you're a realtor for Warren Buffett. Okay, I don't care how good you are. You work for Berkshire and Warren Buffett. I'm going to hire you. I don't think that's, they'll say it. I don't think that's actually ever been a thing. I think if you worked for Keller Williams, regardless of how much people respected Keller Williams, if you showed up unprepared, they weren't hiring you.
Yeah.
They would hire another agent maybe from Keller Williams. So there is some brand recognition from the brokerage side back in the day. But even back in the day, I think it was still your reputation, dude. It maybe even more so because all you had was word of mouth. So if you messed up someone, it hurt you a lot more than nowadays. You can get in front of so many people nowadays. Maybe it's not as important. So I think personal brand has always been a thing. We haven't had a relationship with it or identified it until Gary Vee came out and started crushing shit. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's that. But I think you have a brand whether you like it or not. Right? Like when it was like, okay, I need to build a brand. You have one. It just either sucks or it doesn't suck. And you're either scaling it and you're putting it in front of more people or you're not. But it all starts with you. And you have to be clear and concise about what it is that you do, right? So when we talk about personal production, right, and I say,
Did
hey,
you
man,
think through this before you started your personal brand? Like, hey, what is the message?
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem I solve?
yeah.
How do I say
Welcome
that
to
in
the
one
Marine Corps,
sentence?
brother. Commander's intent before you go on a training op or before you go on a mission. It's like, what's our commander's intent? Where are we at? Why are we here? What are we doing? And what are we trying to accomplish? Like, you have to be clear and concise with your Marines on what's expected from them, what's expected from me. By the way, why the fuck are we here in the first place? right? So it's just 100%, man, 100%. This is why I tell everybody, make real estate fit you, not the other way around. Because if I'd have just tried to fit into real estate, all these skill sets I had from prior careers, I never would have connected the dots on how well they work in real estate. I'd have just tried to put the tie on and be another guy, and I would have just unpacked everything that made me great so I could go be in real estate and look like everybody else and get in line. I didn't. I made real estate fit me, which means I brought my skill sets, my personality, my intuition, in addition to studying and being a great practitioner of real estate, but I didn't leave my skill sets behind.
Does a lot of your leadership tactically and the culture that you've created, that you're creating, a lot of that come from the Marine Corps? And like, give us an example of what that looks like. Are you speaking to your team, like in terms of mission? How are you getting them to buy in to what it is you're leading?
Well, I'm getting them to buy in on themselves.
On themselves,
right? Because like here, you know, with how we run agents, we've got 200 agents, man, and we're in 20 states right now. So it's not so much they've got to believe in my tactics, they've got to believe in our approach and how we do things, but I'm helping them build their brand.
Sure.
Not, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not the Will and Eli team. They're not the Mile High Property Brothers. Like we're helping them build their own brand and their own business. So they've also got to believe in themselves and that they can do it. And it comes from build confidence through consistency and task-oriented achievements. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, the realtor, like we've had realtors do 6 deals in their first 6 months. Oh my God, they're the shit. No, they're not. Their mom bought, their brother-in-law bought, their cousin bought. They're like, oh my God, real estate's amazing. Yeah. And we all know that have been around for a little while. We all know, oh, they're about to hit a fucking wall. Because after these 6 months, they have done nothing to build their business. Yeah. They just had some low-hanging fruit. Ironically, the timing worked out. Great. Awesome. And they're about to go another year and a half without a deal, and it's going to kill them.
Well, it's like, especially when you're a new agent, but even agents that have been around for a while, lenders too, you know, especially when you're new, you get that first handful of clients and you're loving on them, right? And you're doing everything with them. And then all of a sudden you close those transactions, but you haven't been prospecting, right? So it's this roller coaster.
You must not care that much.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so fickle about that stuff. I have such an interesting... You know, because like nowadays we're in this hype of like gratitude and hey, what do you love? What are you grateful for? Write it down in a journal every morning, right? Oh, you're grateful for your family. Okay, write that 10 times. I'm like, fuck, man. If you were really grateful, after you write that, what's your fucking tactics? What's your plan to show appreciation for that?
100%, dude. And
so you're appreciative of your clients, but you never call them. You never follow up. You never offer to help their friends if you did a great job. Like you don't remember their 1-year house anniversary. You don't remember their wedding anniversary. You don't remember birthdays. You don't throw something by them for 4th of July. You don't do anything. You don't throw client appreciations. Nothing. But you appreciated them. No, you selfishly appreciate a commission check.
Yeah.
But if you really appreciate people, you know, people will put more effort into proving somebody wrong that is a hater of theirs or that doesn't like them. They'll put more effort into that shit than they will into reaching out to clients. And a lot of times it's not even necessarily because they don't want to. They don't know how. They haven't built their CRM. They haven't built control measures. Like, I don't know how to do all of that in one day by myself. I don't. But we've got a great CRM. And I've got reminders for every fucking thing. And anyone we speak to, under any circumstances, real estate related, like they go in there and they're taken care of. Right? So every day, like alerts can pop off. Hey, open up your CRM in the morning. Hey, check it out. It's so-and-so's birthday. It's so-and-so's 1-year anniversary on their home. It's so-and-so's, you know, what, like you'll see your alerts based off of the triggers that you build in your CRM. And you go, oh, well, outside of everything else I'm going to do today that I've already got planned, guess what? I'm also making these 5 calls. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
It's that, or like, hey, I'm going to give a handwritten note to my clients every quarter. For what? For what? Like, hey, love you. They know what you're doing. You just want referrals. But if I leave you a handwritten note on your porch with in an envelope and a little basket, and let's say it's got a $50 or $100 gift card in there for dinner, right? And I'm like, hey, brother, happy 1-year anniversary on your home. Hope you and the wife are doing great. If there's anything you need, let me know. But for now, just enjoy dinner on me. Congratulations. Yeah. Do you know what people say to that? Well, we didn't even know it was our 1-year anniversary. Right. Oh my! So it's not only am I giving a handwritten card and a little gift card for dinner. It's why I'm giving it. If I'm just dropping it off once a quarter to check the box, and there's no real reason, it's like, well, they know I'm doing that to be nice, to kiss their ass, to get referrals. People know that, and it's like, hey, they should deserve better than that. If you can find, if you get information from your clients in the process, and you know their kids' birthdays, you know their birthdays, you know their wedding anniversary. I've said on podcasts before, I've randomly scrolled my clients, I've clicked on someone, and I'll go, look, they actually show their birthday on their fucking Facebook. It's not hard to get. You're just not putting it in, right? Like, but all of those things give you reasons and opportunities to, like, dude, cross country, you guys do like those big dumpsters for spring cleanouts, right? Ripper, people love it, right? Like, gives you a reason to get in front of clients, gives you a reason to have some fun, but you're giving them something that's also useful. Things like that, right? Like, it's not that reaching out isn't the right thing to do. It's why you're doing it and how you're doing it. That's a game changer. And a lot of people, they don't do it the right way. No different than people that go to the gym. Dude, I'm just not getting results. I got it because you're going every day, but guess what, man? You're not doing the right things for the goal you want. So no wonder why you're not getting results.
Right. Or you're not doing it long enough. What
Yeah, great point. Or, hey, man, you're doing the right things. You just got to continue to do it because this is something that builds your business over time. It's not just the right now money. Correct.
Well, it's like so many people want that instant gratification, or they want results immediately. I mean, I think that's just human nature. You
Get
want
out
to
of
do
the
something,
business.
get results. But
get
you've
out.
got to have the ability to withstand not having results for a period of time.
Or don't. Get out.
Or get out. Yeah.
Everyone thinks like, hey, no Marine left behind, right? You guys will do anything for your brother. No one ever talks about how hard it is to become a Marine or to be a part of that unit before they will do everything it takes to never leave you behind. Do you know how many people get left behind that don't make it to be a Marine? Do you know how many people that get left behind that don't make it to special operations? So this whole like no realtor left behind, it's like, hey, if you're going to have those habits, if you're going to have that expectation, if you're going to have that low level of consistency and you're not wanting to build yourself, you either adhere to standards and build yourself and have a successful business and career in real estate, or don't. That's okay too. Because you and I both know, man, not everybody should be here, dude.
Yeah.
So it's not about saving every realtor, every lender. It's about having a standard, helping everybody we can possible with resources and training to hit standard, yet not letting this standard falter just because you don't want to work as hard as you should. Well, then you just shouldn't play.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? The most expensive sell and buy of people's life, but we got to keep lowering the fucking standard, man? I don't know. I think that's what got real estate in trouble in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I'd agree, man. And dude, I want to go back to something that you said a minute ago because I was just having a conversation with an agent the other day. You had said, really, it's helping somebody else become, I forget how you said it, but like a better version of themselves, or really getting them to believe that they're capable
Learn, do,
of
teach, man.
doing something greater for themselves, right? And but man, I have agents all the time that are like, hey, Derek, I want to talk to you about, maybe another brokerage, or, what do you think about this brokerage? Or, hey, I was having a conversation with this company. And my response is, hey, sometimes the best move is no move at all. Like, when's the last time you hired a coach? Like, when's the last time you took responsibility and you put in the hard work? You had somebody hold you accountable. You learned new tactics.
Yeah.
You became a better version of you,
Yeah.
right? Like, when have you put yourself into a hard position and done something that's fucking tough, like a 75 hard, or getting you to sort of get outside of that complacency? Start there, right? And then you'll know whether or not it makes sense to have a conversation with another brokerage.
Or
right?
if you are going to move brokerage, stop talking to companies and start talking to people.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
for
regardless,
sure.
Keller Williams, EXP, Berkshire, hey, they're all good and they're all bad. Predicated on the person you are around that's in your direct line of leadership that's going to help you succeed.
Well, that's it. People don't leave companies, they leave people.
100%.
Right? So it's leadership. And I think you get around the right people from that environment. Iron sharpens iron, right? But
Correct.
like being around that environment and having somebody that's already achieved the results that you're looking to achieve,
Comma.
that's
That's also in a place where they're willing to start helping.
there you go.
Right, because you got a lot of folks that are high achievers, man. They're top 1% in production and et cetera, and they have zero interest in helping you. You can join their team. You can start calling their fucking leads, and you can start building their brand. But they're not going to help you build your brand. Right, so you really have to find
Yeah, true.
a great network of people that not only are successful, but they're in a place where they're ready to give contribution to the next people to level up.
Man, with all the things that you have going on, like walk us through what your week at a glance looks like. Like how much time are you spending on like where you're hammering the phones versus, coaching or training your team versus, flying to.
Is there a camera? Do we have a camera?
Yeah.
Where's it show me?
Right here.
Okay. So if I hold my phone up, it'll see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's just have some fun. So here's, let's see. We're with you right now, so here's my weeks.
Okay. Good.
There you go.
Color coded on purpose.
But see how busy that is?
Yeah.
And by busy, I mean you see how calculated, how intentional each spot is? So
Blue,
first,
purple, orange. What does it mean?
it just depends on level of importance.
Okay.
And whether Eli is involved in that meeting or not. Because some things we have to do together, some things we don't. If we don't have to do it together, I don't want that color to represent that because, he can book something at the same time if I don't need him. Right?
Okay.
But that calendar is built strictly off of it looks busy, right? And it is. It's fucking full. But it's intentional with certain time slots. Right? And
Personal with business?
that's all business.
That's all business?
That's
You have a
all
separate
business.
personal calendar?
No.
No.
I have a certain window when I'm typically done around 6:00 at night. I'll hang out with kiddos for
Yeah,
a couple of
got it.
hours, and if I
Okay.
got to get back at it at night, 8 to 10, 8 to 12, if I have some things I have to conquer, then I'll conquer them. You saw some that just went the entire calendar. It was blue from top to bottom. That's when I'm at a convention and I'm speaking. I'm out of state, so I don't have kids, so I'm just working nonstop. But all of those things that are on that calendar, they don't start by me just putting stuff on a calendar. It starts with lanes of focus, right? So what's the most important lane and what are the most important tasks? I start time blocking and putting those
You
into my
talking like a
calendar.
themed work day where that day you're hyper focused on one pillar of your business?
Not
Is that what you
necessarily.
mean?
Each day has a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Because I have to build my calendar around closings.
Sure.
So for a regular realtor, right? Like you've got your non-negotiables. Put your gym workout in there and put your weekly date with your wife on there. Got it. Put them on your fucking calendar and just build it around because you got plenty of time, right?
Yeah.
The second thing you got to put on there is, well, I've got some showings, I've got an inspection, and I've got a closing this week. Cool. Put that on your calendar. That'd be like your second layer on your calendar. Okay, well, look at all that white space you have left. What are you doing with that white space? Go to your lanes of focus on the business tasks. Go to lane 1, task 1 and task 2, and put them on your calendar. Go to lane 2, task, right? Put the top 2 tasks from that lane on your calendar. And you start getting intentional with the tasks that have to get done per lane of focus.
What do you think is more important, effort or frequency? Because I feel like you could be.
I mean, it just, they're both, right? I think capacity is the conversation. Because you got to have effort and you got to have frequency, correct? They're both equally important. So
Sure.
then the only thing
Sure.
that's in discussion is I need to have effort and frequency to whatever capacity I can do it and still do a good job. You start doing so much, it's not a good job, then you don't have the capacity to do those things at that pace. Slow down.
Like an example, okay, hey, and I'm just totally making this up out of thin air, but hey, you want to double your production, that means you're going to have to make 4 hours of calls instead of 2.
I don't think so.
But, okay, I know, but just play along
Yeah,
with me here for a
okay.
second. So let's say it's, 4 hours of phone calls, but you're coaching the person and find out that, man, after 90 minutes, they're so burnt out that they're no longer effective. Their frequency starts to decrease.
Of course.
The effort's still there, but it's not effective effort.
I'm going
'Cause
to
they don't
dive
have
into
the
what calls
capacity.
you're making in the first place because you could just be making better calls. So there's that. What are you recruiting? What are you calling in the first place? Like what type of client are you calling? Okay, and then where are you getting these numbers from? These people to call. Like we're gonna dive into just quality of what you're calling in the first place, and then secondly, like man, if you only have the capacity to call for 90 minutes, like do you need a dialer? Would that help?
Sure.
Do you need to break that up and call 3 times a week at different times versus 1 time a week, and you're trying to do it all day? Yeah, let's talk about that, and then hey, based off of what you're making calls on. Well, I want to talk to you about your calls because I don't make fucking calls. That's the number one thing that blows people away. I don't make calls. I've never made a phone call to attract an agent that's a part of our network of agents, right? And I don't call clients. I call past clients. I call current clients.
How much do you think your personal brand and like
It's all
events have
attraction.
played into traction rather
All
than
attraction,
promotion, right?
Like when people are curious about how we've attracted 200 agents, it's like, hey, how did you guys do that? We gave our shit away for free. We threw events. We taught agents how to do what we were doing. And I'd say things like, hey guys, as much as we love throwing these events, we'd love more to partner with you and help you build your brand and your business. So if what we're teaching today aligns with how you want to grow your business, come talk to me during the happy hour. We'd teach for 2 or 3 hours, and then we'd have an hour happy hour, and agents would come up and go, man, this is amazing. I'd love to do this, and what does it look like to partner with you? Here's what it looks like. Cool, let's hop on a call. But it didn't come from a cold call. You'll never get a Will Grimes. Hey, this is Will Grimes. Just leave me a message. You'll never get it, dude. I just, not because it doesn't work. I'm not saying that. It's just I don't want to do it. I'm not that guy. I'd rather expose and show and give for free and let people make decisions on their own.
Yeah. How long did it take you once you started building brand to like really get traction with that? Is that something where you just started to figure it out pretty early on, or?
Yeah, man, that's the frequency thing, right? Because dude, I've only been in real estate 6 years.
Yeah, but just remarkable, dude.
That's it. Like, I hit my 7th year in January. This January coming up, January of 25, right? That'll be January 5th or something like that is my 7-year anniversary. It's just frequency, man. I'm not the guy that's going to work 18 hours a day every day. Like, there's some days that have taken 18 hours.
Sure.
When you're speaking or you're at events and you're at all night happy hours or VIPs, and those days happen. But I don't have a schedule. Like, you saw it, man. Like, I don't have a schedule of that. Like, I've got a schedule from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Some of these, like, I just found one here. Like, you'll see somewhere it goes until 8 p.m. because there's just a couple meetings I just have to go over. But for the most part, you see it, man. It stops where it stops. Every once in a while, it'll kind of go over, right? Cool. But, like, I feel like people just aren't effective with their time. And this is, you might like this. This is a conversation I have in coaching a lot, dude. Like, efficient versus effective. What's more important? Everyone will say efficient. And I say, I don't think so. And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, let me give you an example. Like, we have a YouTube channel, correct?
Effective.
Cool. If I take all that video and then I sit down for 4 hours to edit that video, and it's really good, and I'm really good at it, I'm really efficient at it, okay, but you're not a fucking editor. You're a realtor. So no matter how efficient you are at editing that video, you're not being effective with your time, because that's not real estate related.
That's not your area of genius.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I think what I've done well with my time, and I still work a lot, dude. We work weekends a lot when we have to, and all good. And I just fucking love this game of business, dude. I don't, when people need a break, you ask me to go golf, I don't want to golf. But if you want to do a podcast and talk like this, I'll say yes to you 10 times Tuesday. If you'd asked me to golf, I'd have told you no.
Yeah.
If he'd have said Jerry Rice is going to be there, I'd say, tell that motherfucker I said what's up.
Yeah.
And by the way, he beat the fucking Broncos like 6 times, so fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not going to go. Mark my word, dude, I'm not going to go. But a podcast where I get to talk business and then we get to chop up and create content for this and then we get to scale this on social media, this is effective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not going to edit my YouTube videos. We'll be on them and we'll do our thing.
Sure.
But no matter, even if I'm good at it, it doesn't matter. And people get so caught behind things that they like to do or things that they're good at or that they don't want to spend money to have someone else do. Like, agents that don't have a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I don't supervise my contracts, brother. I see every email that goes from my TC to title. I know every adjustment. I know every change. I see them. I just don't need to reply because they got it, but I'm looking at them, right?
Yeah.
But do I need to sit down and do all the TC work versus going and building the business? Because guess what? If I'm doing all that, well, the TC ain't going to have much work to do.
Yeah, right.
And you're not going to have much to give them or yourself, right? So even if you're good at that, you're efficient at it, cool, but you're not being effective with where you're choosing to put your time. And I think I'm just more effective at identifying where my time needs to go versus having pride of saying, like, I'm the real guy. I do the real thing. I do the paperwork. I do this. And it's like, hey, man, you can have pride in that and you can keep pushing deals for the rest of your life and not build anything for yourself. Got it. And if you're not pushing a house, you're not making money. That does not attract me. It's not that I'm not into production. I love it. It's not that I didn't love conquering it. And it's not that I don't love seeing my realtors do it. I love it. But if we're just talking that, man, it's mildly interesting at best. Does that make sense? So it's like we just got to find ways to be more effective. But that comes first. I'd rather you kind of suck at what you're doing and learn how to do it better in a lane that's effective versus you doing something you're good at that's not effective for you to be spending your time. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? So a lot of folks have a struggle with efficiency over effectiveness.
Dude, so when you're coaching somebody on habits, how much of your coaching is talking with them about tactics versus, morning routine, daily habits, personal development stuff?
Both.
Both.
Where is it rooted? You know what I mean? Like, no matter how many tactics I give you in real estate, if you're partying and drinking and doing crazy shit at night, and then you can't wake up, and when you do wake up, you're hungover, does it even matter?
No.
So it all starts with the person first. It all starts on, I got to just make you a more effective vehicle, right? But I'm not going to tell you to read a book for 4 hours. I think, like, this is the part of coaching that I hate. It's like you've been around it for a while because you go to events, you see it. I feel like there's a race to, like, say the same thing someone else does, but in a more romantic way. Or
Totally.
this guy reads in the morning. I read. I read at 1.5 speed though. Like, this guy reads a book in the morning. I do an audiobook at 2x so I can get through it faster.
Each other, right?
You're like, God damn it, dude. Like, there's just this race of charlatans of, like, just out stoicing. I'm using quotes if you're not listening, if you're not watching the video. Out stoicizing each other. And you're like, dude, that's not a fucking effective. Like, there's somebody out there with a 4-hour morning routine. I don't want to say his name. It's not important.
Is that right?
You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, dude, are you joking me? A 4-hour morning routine. Yeah. And literally I listen to a book at 2 times the speed while I'm on the treadmill. I'm like, Jesus, dude. I just I don't like it. But I do like creating some framework and some structure that's productive for people. For me, the most productive thing is the least amount of friction between me waking up and me getting to the gym, the better I am. So if I'm going to cold plunge or whatever, but if you start giving me cold plunges and saunas and reading and treadmills, and then I got to drag my balls in the grass to be one with earth, I'm out. Because dude, I'm not in it, man. It's like, listen, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna shit, shower, shave, right? I'm gonna
drag your balls in the grass.
I'm gonna listen to the Bible, dude. I listen to a gentleman that's on YouTube. He runs Dry Creek Wrangler School. His name's Dwayne. He's got he runs that pot. It's like a mindset YouTube channel. He's just an old country cowboy, but he grew up gospel, and I like the Bible in the morning.
So many great success principles, great leadership.
But
principles.
It also tempers me. If I listen to Machine Gun Kelly in the morning, I'm fucking. I hate everybody, dude. I'm coming after it. I don't need that poison, right? But if I listen to Dwayne, for example, talk about scripture and his interpretation of it, on my way to the gym, it's setting my tone for the day. And then when I go to the gym, I'm not trying to do some 3-hour Sparta 300 workout that I can go brag about. It's going to be a hard workout. But my workouts need to fuel me and be a launching pad for my day. I don't need my workout to be so hard that I'm dead the rest of the day, but hey, I'm an alpha male and look at how hard my workout is. I'm not effective. I'm not effective. Right? I've done the 24-hour Ironmans. I've done the things. It's not that there's not a place for those, but there's a place for those. Yeah. And for me, it's not every day. Let me go show how hard my workout can be so I can need a nap or be, just detached from my day because of whatever I just put myself through mentally and physically because I had to do this 2-hour thing. I don't need it. My workout should launch me into my day like a rocket, dude. So it's hard, but it's also fulfilling. But these are things that work for me because from a leadership standpoint.
By the way, guys, like, this is gold for sure. Yeah. Like, as you were saying that, I literally thought to myself, yep, been there. Like, wanting to go crush it, thinking that that's going to fuel my day more, but then you're right. I'm fucking exhausted.
You're hungry. You're drained. You're dehydrated. Yeah. You need it's not like for me from a leadership standpoint. Like, go back to the Marine Corps, right? Like, how conditioned we have to be. Like, no matter how great you are at gunfighting, if you're tired and dead and fatigued by the time you get to the gunfight, are you worth a shit?
Yeah, no.
So my day is my battle, right? My battlefield of business per se, right? Like, my workout should grow me, should challenge me, but it should launch me and I should be effective. Like, my whole idea, man, is like, look, dude, I'm not a baseball player anymore. I'm not a Marine that's going to go do something. I'm not like I did a diesel day, right? It's a 24-hour Ironman without swimming. And it's really cool. It's hard as shit.
Diesel day?
Yeah, it's hard. My buddy runs it. It's cool.
Huh, cool.
There's a time and place every once in a while to go test yourself, and I'm good with that. But your day in and day out, It's like, man, I need to be effective every day. I need to be effective as a father when I get home. I need to be effective for my agents throughout my day. And I need to be effective for myself and my business partner with whatever we're growing. And if I'm so stuck on being an alpha or keeping up with everybody on Instagram, whatever bullshit workout we're doing to show how tough we are, it's like, it's mildly interesting to me, man, because I'm less effective. So it's like, I use my workout to be effective for the rest of my day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, Will, a lot of successful people, they say that one of the things that is important, and this is a general statement, but one of the things that's important is like you have to develop some type of consistency in what you're doing. And I'll just use phone calls as an example, but like being able to develop consistency around phone calls for sales, let's say, right? But then you look at that and you go, okay, well, if I'm going to make, whatever the number is, 20 phone calls a day, every day, minus Sunday for the rest of my life, that's going to be one thing I commit to. But I would imagine at some point there's a level of like fatigue or burnout. How do you, so
They don't want to do it.
there's a couple questions here. One, how do you stay relevant, and how do you like re-energize yourself with those mundane
Look at our friend
consistencies?
Gavin. I don't have to refresh because I love what I do. Look at Gavin. Does Gavin mind being on the phone?
Yeah, no.
No, he loves it.
Yeah.
Brother, I'd rather slam my dick in that door than do those calls.
Yeah.
But it's like, remember like when we're kids, right? Like, hey, eat your broccoli. I don't make my kid eat broccoli. Dad, I don't want to eat broccoli. Okay. But what are you going to eat? Because you're going to eat some green shit. But what are you going to eat? So for me, hey, I don't want to make, I'm not a call guy. I'm not going to do it. Okay. But what are you going to do? This is where social media, YouTube, and events came in. Makes sense? Yeah. I'm not a fucking call guy.
Yeah.
Great. So it's like, hey, look, if you're just not that, don't do it. Find a better way. Find another way. Because if you don't want to do it if you don't like it and you're not going to do it, you know how hard it is to be consistent at something you don't want to do?
Yeah.
You won't. You won't. But Gavin loves conversation. Gavin loves being on the, like, dude, that dude does that, man. And that's a good friend of ours, right? Like, I love that guy. I'm not knocking him. I fucking love it. Yeah. And look how well it works for him.
Yeah.
But he also just loves those conversations and loves the conversion of that. I love the same conversion he does. It's just through creating relationships a different way. So all good. So it's like, hey, Will, you're not going to make calls. Nope, I'm not. Cool. But what are you going to do? Yeah. This is where we started looking at it differently. This is where we stepped outside of the box and started looking at events, started looking, dude, our webinars that we throw. I didn't even talk about that. We throw webinars every week, dude. So between in-person events and webinars and training and our YouTube channel and our Instagrams and our Facebook, we get a scalable influx of business transactionally and agents. Those are both my clients, sellers and buyers and realtors. Those are my clients, right? They're both clients for me. I get that same result. I'm climbing the same mountain Gavin's climbing. I'm just on a different path. Yeah. But most people, it's like they don't want to do something and then they stop the pursuit of what they will do. Right? It's just about the pursuit of what you will do. And like, well, Will, how do I do that? You get around people that are at a high level of success, that are doing it, not just that they're doing it, but they're doing it how you want to do it. Does that make sense?
Dude, I love that, man. Let's talk a little bit about events. Talk to us about like the actual protocol, or I'll just call it a formula that you have for an event. So do you have a calendar that you set up, a year in advance or something where what events you're doing? Like how far out are they planned?
90 days.
Right. 90 days out. Okay. So,
and dude, I can't, because listen, man, if I have something planned a year out and Ryan Pineda's like, hey, dude, come talk at WealthCon.
Sure.
Oh, hey, sorry, Ryan, I can't because I'm doing this beer garden down the street. You fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No. So like, but you also don't need more than 90 days. And I've never been hey, I'm going to do this and then just take tunnel vision and do this no matter what here, because you're missing pivots, man. There's opportunities that we've found where we've canceled something and leaned into something else because of an opportunity that presented itself. If you're, hey, here's my calendar, I'm going to do it for a year, here's my events, no matter what, or die trying. It's like a motorboat, right, versus a sailboat. Are you learning how to sail the seas? Are you seeing storms coming? But because you're in this motorboat and you got this tunnel vision, you don't even realize that you're throwing events towards shit people don't even want to hear anymore. Right. Oh, you're still teaching that? Well, people want to learn about AI and YouTube now. You're still teaching Facebook. Yeah, right. But because you're just tunnel vision on your events, like you don't even see the storm that's coming. And hey, people, so it's like when I imagine something being more like a sailboat, it's like you got to learn how to navigate storms. You got to use you got to learn how to use tailwinds to build momentum, and you're still going to get to your destination. It's just how you get there. So, right? So like for me, my destination, I'm on a road to 1,000.
Okay.
I'm on a road to 1,000 agents. I want to help 1,000 agents right now.
Awesome, man. Hey, before we go any further, how can people find you? Like
Will_Grimes on Instagram, dude.
Cool.
When we were first starting, right, it was like, I'm so not romantic about an intro or anything. Like, I'm just a dude. I dare you to message me. Anybody that's messaged me, throw me a follow, throw me a message so you don't go into a filter. If you follow me, I'll see the message, right? You throw me a DM, I'm going to respond to you that day. Unless it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'll respond to you the next day. But there's not a person I don't respond to on Instagram. And then based off of what they're looking for, whether it's coaching, whether it's collabing as agents and teaming up with me and Eli, whether it's questions, I can throw you some stuff based off of what you're looking for specifically versus people just trying to find me on a random website. Like, you guys can find me on Google, all that good stuff. But if you DM me on Instagram, I'm going to respond and I'm going to help you out.
Awesome, dude. And I attest to that for sure. Like, anytime I've messaged you, dude, you've been like Johnny on the spot, which is awesome because I know how busy you are. And so Will_Grimes.
Yep. By the way, you know who else responds immediately?
Who?
You'd never guess, but all of his teammates say it.
Okay.
Fucking Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Huh.
They say that guy responds the fastest. And there was like this clip, I think it was on one of his documentaries, but actors, coaches, players, brand new players, people that were wanting to do business, the dude respectfully gets back to people. And I'm so glad people started talking about that because for me, unless I'm speaking on a stage or something and just can't get to my phone, I've never really had a time where it's that big of a deal to respond to a message. Even if it's, hey, brother, appreciate your message. Let's set up a time. I'm a little busy today, but let's set up a time next week to talk. Even if it's just a message that says we got to talk later, how fucking hard is it?
Dude, acknowledgement is such an important piece.
Yeah. And you know the number one way to get yourself kicked out of an opportunity? Go ahead and message me on Instagram and tell me how I can help you. And I respond same day, and you take 3 days to respond to that.
Yeah, right.
I won't help you.
Yeah.
Because you can already just see where their mentality's at. But I'm so glad they talked about Tom Brady. As busy as he is, as famous as he is, as successful as he is, he's still a great communicator. And I've never felt like it's such a big deal to respond to somebody within an hour or even less, right? Sometimes within 10 minutes, unless I'm doing something like this podcast. I haven't touched my phone. So if you're texting me right now, it's going to be within an hour. I'll get back to you. But I've never seen why it's so hard to just acknowledge. Even if we got to talk later, just at least acknowledge and set something up, man. And if you're available for people, if you give a shit about people, you're going to go a long way. It's just about setting up the right systems and processes to scale your business. But if you give a fuck, man, like you've got the right recipe to go far because you care.
Dude, I so appreciate you being on today, brother. And like, I feel like there's 1,000 other things that we could talk about.
Yeah. Come on ours, or we'll run it back on this one, whatever you like, man.
Dude, that'd be awesome. But I really appreciate it. Everything that you dropped, man, today was gold. Guys, if you're looking for not just a new home, but if you're starting to think, hey, maybe there's a better option for me. Hey, maybe I need somebody to help coach me to become better at being me and tactics and CRM and personal brand, like you're really looking to take your business to the next level, get in touch with this guy. You won't be disappointed. He's the best of the best. And look forward to having you back on the show, brother.
Love you, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, same. Thanks.
So turn that loss to a check. Every time that I see a limit, I push right past it. Don't care if you got here first, the one to win is the last one standing. Say my life is like luck. Nah, I had to plan it. The way I work is out of this earth.